Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA, and today we are back at one of my all-time favorite restaurants, one of the most famous and iconic restaurants in all of New York City. The famous and legendary and 140-year-old Katz's Deli. Now, Katz's isn't just a tourist destination, but Katz's is nothing short of one of the oldest and most iconic, and in my mind, one of the best restaurants in the whole city. I would argue the whole country. This place serves up the best pastrami I've ever had, besides maybe Langer's Deli in LA. And Langer's actually might be closing, so yeah, soon this might be number one. What I love most about Katz's is that it's so famous, and because it's famous, it's a huge tourist destination, and it's one of the few tourist destinations, like crazy popular tourist destinations, that 100% lives up to the hype. Anyone who tells you that Katz's Deli isn't good, is overrated and stuff like that, they don't know what they're talking about. They've either never had it before, or they're just being a contrarian, which is not unusual in New York. Usually the line here at Katz's is down the street and around the block. Like sometimes it stretches all the way to that CVS. But let me tell you a local tip. If you come here in the morning, so it's 10:30 right now, so I was actually gonna get here even earlier, just to show that you get here early, there's not gonna be anyone here. But I woke up a little late, so it's 10:30 and still there's no line. Like people are just walking right in. I mean, the restaurant doesn't take reservations, so it's all walk-in anyways, but what I mean is that they don't need to wait in line at all. And I get it, pastrami, Jewish deli foods can be a little heavy, so if it's not for you, there's a reason why this place isn't super slammed at breakfast time. But if you're like me, and if a juicy, smoky pastrami sandwich, a juicy corned beef, if these things sound pretty good for you first thing in the morning, then take it from me. This is a great time to come. So it looks like it's starting to attract some traffic. So let's get in before the line gets longer. Thank you. Thank you. Look at that. Pretty much as empty as it gets. Do you do like half and half sandwiches? So half pastrami, half corned beef, do you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, but not mixed, like left pastrami, left, oh you got it? Okay.
Oh, you have to go.
For here. Thank you. Oh, hot. Hot. It's burning my fingers. Thank you. All right, guys, so we are here inside Katz's Deli, and this time we got a half and half sandwich. This time we got not just a full pastrami sandwich, we got a half pastrami and a half corned beef. And I've had the corned beef here before, and the corned beef is pretty good, but the pastrami here is unreal. And let me show you another local tip. Do you see how this guy is smoking? Like, another good thing about coming here early too is that if you come here early, oftentimes the meats are super fresh. They haven't been sitting for a while, they're super fresh and steaming, and you're getting some piping hot product. Seriously, just look at how piping hot these sandwiches are. I don't know if you can see the steam, but in person it's quite visible. Might be the lighting, maybe the lighting is making it hard to see, but even when I was like eating the free sample, it was like burning my fingers. The only thing is that I think the guy cutting for me was kind of gruff. He did not ask if I wanted mustard. It's okay, there's mustard at the table, so I can self-mustard it myself, but usually they ask if you want mustard, and I just forgot to specify. But yeah, this is the delicious pastrami. It's looking a little less fatty than when I've come in the past. When I've come before, it's been definitely fattier, so perhaps that's also on me to request a fattier cut, but this corned beef is looking to die for. So without further ado, let's, mustard this guy up and sink our mouth into this huge pastrami sandwich. Oh man, it's falling apart. Or not pastrami, corned beef sandwich. So, I mean, the prices are definitely high here, but I mean, just look at how much meat you get. I mean, 28 bucks, it's a lot for sure. I mean, it's definitely expensive. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but 28 bucks for this whole sandwich, not per half, 28 bucks for all this meat. So, you know, it's not the worst price if you don't eat the whole thing in one sitting, which you probably shouldn't. So, oh man, the only problem is the bread is looking kind of weak. It ideally should not have fallen apart that easily, but it is what it is. So, a bite of the corned beef.
So I'm gonna get the meat. Let's get the question, and then the restaurants are at the far back on price. If you ever come here.
Absolutely delicious. One of the best corned beefs I've ever had. I think here and David's Brisket House, they both do really good corned beefs. And also in Philly, the name of the deli is escaping me, the one in Reading Terminal. But Philly also, you know, that spot also does a pretty good corned beef. But this one is definitely up there. And let me break it down. It's just so tender. I mean, the sandwich fell apart partially, I think because it was just so tender that, you know, the thing was just looking for an excuse to fall apart. Let me just show you how tender this meat is. Okay, so it has like some connective sinew that's kind of keeping it together. So I guess it didn't come apart the way I thought it would, but in a way, this fat and sinew that's keeping it together, it keeps the corned beef together. And as you can see, you can play it like an accordion. So when you bite it and you break apart that sinew, it in reality will break apart, if you know what I mean. Oftentimes corned beefs are overly salted, and I did not get the sense here. It's the perfect amount of salt. I think it's easy for corned beef to be overly salted because corned beef is brined, you know, so it's easy to overshoot that salt solution. But in this case, it's perfectly salted. It's not too much sodium. The meat's tender. The flavor of the beef tastes great. Not too fatty, not too lean. The mustard provides a perfect kick. This is like a spicy brown mustard, so it may not look good because it fell apart while I was picking it up, but trust me, this sandwich is excellent. By the way, look at how crowded this place has become. Just look at how in the past like 15 minutes, it's just become so much more busy. It looks like you can still walk in, but those lines for the cutters used to be completely empty. You could just walk right up. Not anymore. It's starting to fill up because it's getting closer to 11. And as you can see, all those empty seats are now filling up. So I guess 10:30 is the sweet spot. Once you get past 10:50, I guess, you know, it's getting a little risky. So let's take another bite of this. Outstanding. I'll see if I can find it. But I think Adam Richman likes the corned beef here most, rather than the pastrami. So if I can find his picture, picture up here, I'll see if I can get a B-roll of it. But I don't know, could be a needle in a haystack with how many iconic photos are here. Anyways, let's cleanse the palate real quick with a half sour, not a full sour. Full sour might be too intense. So let's cleanse the palate with a half sour. Mustard. On the bread. And time for what they're most famous for, pastrami and mustard on rye. Even though we reviewed this last time in the video we made here, I think almost 2 years ago, I always gotta get this when I come here. You know, at the very least I can take it to go, because this right here is, you know, manna from heaven. Delicious bark ends. Oh, pastrami is almost like Jewish Deli barbecue, the way I look at it. So I should have requested a fatty cut because it is a little bit more lean than I would have liked, but it is still excellent. It still falls apart in your mouth. It's still really juicy despite not being as fatty as I usually like it here. And it's piping hot. It's just perfection. So yeah, on this channel, you know, we always try to be fair, and I will say that if I had one critique about Katz's Deli, it's that I really do think they could upgrade their bread a little bit. I do think that their bread is a little bit, you know, too supermarket quality, a little too cheap, and you know, that's why my sandwich to the side fell apart so quickly. If you eat here, really hold the sandwiches firmly in both hands. It's hard for me though because I need to use one hand to film and one hand to hold it. But while I like it fatty, and next time I'll ask for it fattier, it's still just, you know, despite being so lean, it just falls apart in your mouth. The flavor of the beef is wonderful. I like the way they hand slice it at Katz's, so you get, you know, big, uneven, and thick slices of meat as opposed to super thin, uniform slices. I like that heterogeneity. I like that they mix in some delicious, spicy pepper bark throughout, and you know, this one's even lacking a little bit in the bark, but you still see it mixed in throughout. I think maybe because I asked for a half and half, you know, they probably gave me a less desirable cut, and they saved the more fatty cuts for the full pastrami on rice sandwiches, but still an excellent sandwich and probably healthier. So really, other than the bread, everything else about the sandwich is just almost perfect. Fantastic. Well, except the price. I guess it's a little pricey, but I mean, you get a lot of food at least. So at least it's, in theory, it's enough food for 2 days, or 2 meals, I meant. In theory, depends on how hungry you are. Oh, I just remembered. The Philly deli is called Herschel's Deli. All right, needed some protein in this morning to, you know, fuel my brain. Pastrami is brain food, right? I think. Anyways, I want to show you a few more menu items here. So I'm gonna wrap all this up, and then we're gonna go back to the counter and we're gonna order some more food. So let's try a few more things here besides just the sandwiches. And I mean, you know, this is Katz's Deli. It's not just Katz's sandwich shop or, you know, Katz's pastrami house or whatever. So I do want to show you what else they got, because they got some other good stuff. So stay tuned. Just gonna fish out our ticket, and no matter what you do here, do not lose your ticket. Stick to your ticket, because there, I believe, is a $50 charge if you lose your ticket. Yeah, see? Lost ticket fee applies. I mean, I had a close call once. I've been to Katz's many times. I probably come here a few times a year, and I have yet to lose a ticket, but the closest I came was after eating, I, you know, left it on the tray, and yeah, I went to go pay and I forgot, and it was a close call because they had almost thrown it out. So be very, very careful. Don't lose it underneath plates or underneath the paper. Don't let it fall on the floor. Don't put it in like your pocket and forget which pocket it's in. Stick to your ticket, because, you know, otherwise you get a hefty fine and you don't want that. So let's get some more food. Hey. Hey, I'll do one of the hot dogs. Mustard. All right, mustard's at the table, right? Sauerkraut.
I can do mustard on that if you want. You want mustard? You want me to do it? I'll do it.
Sure, sounds good. Or do you have relish?
Relish? Yes, sir.
So relish and mustard, just those two. And can I also do a chocolate egg cream?
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy, my brother.
Thank you. All right, guys, marked on the ticket in a way that I probably do not understand. We got our chocolate egg cream and we got a hot dog. And don't laugh. You might think coming to Katz's Deli to get a hot dog, what are you thinking? But trust me, the hot dogs here, these are some delicious, snappy hot dogs, and they are seriously underrated. So let's quickly drink the egg cream before it goes flat. Looks, I don't know, looks like the chocolate has kind of stuck to the edges of the glass a little. So I don't know, maybe when he was using up all the syrup, maybe some of it stuck to the walls of the glass. So let's drink it before the foamy head recedes. So I actually usually prefer the vanilla ones. I feel like chocolate egg creams to me have always been a little bit too sweet. That's just me. I just prefer the vanilla flavor. I feel like it's a little bit more mild. You know, I think I'm just probably very, very accustomed to the chocolate syrup flavor. I mean, I believe the chocolate syrup that they use in egg creams is pretty much the same chocolate syrup that they use on like ice cream sundaes. The vanilla syrup they use is probably something I'm not as familiar with, but in either case, I recognize that biting, sweet chocolate syrup ice cream sundae flavor from like a squeeze bottle, and it's not really my thing if I can be honest. But I did want to show you guys, as the chocolate egg cream is the traditional egg cream. Might as well show you the traditional version. Although personally, I prefer the vanilla one. Also, they give you a straw, but I personally prefer to drink it from the glass straight up so that you really make use of that foamy head. Actually, look at how much syrup is still stuck on the bottom. It would have been even sweeter if not for that. That one's a little bit too intense for me. It is time though to try the hot dog, and I could have gotten more toppings, but mustard and relish to me is nice and simple, and I don't want to confuse my palate with too many flavors. And that is just looking like a delicious snappy casing, and the relish is looking super fresh as well, so can't wait for this. Which end first? That end. All right, we'll do this end first. It's really, really good. It's a little pricey. I think it was $6. I mean, it's it's Katz's Deli, so expect a bit of a markup. So it's not exactly gonna be that braised papaya price, but this is as good of a hot dog as you're gonna get in the whole city. I mean, I really mean it. People think Katz's Deli, they think pastrami and corned beef, matzo ball soup, but I truly mean it. I think the hot dogs at Katz's Deli are some of the best in the whole city and can compete with any of the iconic hot dog places in New York or New Jersey. The filling is just so juicy and just great beefy flavor. Just look at that skin, that charred skin. Like, a key to a great hot dog is getting like a nice crispy skin. And some places, like Rutt's Hut, they even deep fry their hot dogs to try to make the skin more crispy and fried. Like, what you really want is you really want like the skin to almost lift off of the filling, and that's basically what's happening here. What you want is you want the casing to sort of lift off of the filling, and you're getting that here. So it's crunchy. It almost tastes like the casing is something that's, you know, separately wrapped around the hot dog. The mustard is good. It's a nice spicy mustard. I'm actually pretty sure it's the same mustard at the table, but I'm glad he applied it for me. And that relish is super fresh tasting, super acidic, really complements the spicy mustard and the greasy dog. Well, not that this is greasy, but it's like but you know, hot dogs are oily, you know, so. Wow, delicious. If you don't have a big appetite, hot dog here at Katz's Deli, it's worth trying. Before we call it a vid, I do want to try one more thing. I'm kind of having a tough time making up my mind because, believe it or not, the fries here are actually really good. But I've never had the matzo ball soup here, and usually when I go to Jewish Delis, I like to try their matzo ball soup. If we get the matzo ball soup, it'll be my first time ever having it, just like the chocolate egg cream here, so let's do matzo ball soup. So we'll do that, and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you. All right, guys, so we have the last item we're gonna review, the matzo ball soup, and this one's looking interesting. I was hoping for like a very clear broth, but this is a very dark looking broth. Typically you like for the chicken broth and matzo ball soups to be really clear, you know, where you're really only getting like the essence of the chicken, and you don't usually want it to be dark like this. That's at least what I've been led to believe, but this is a huge chunk of matzo ball, and yeah, the matzo ball is like 90% of the soup. It looks like the soup is just like a little jacuzzi. It's just like a hot tub keeping the matzo ball entertained. In fact, it's got like the two little, you know, the carrot and the celery for eyes, and it's almost got like a little face. It's almost got like a little mouth here, right? Like it's going like or something. So anyways, let's dive in. First, let's try a sip of the broth. If we can even get it with the ball in the way. The broth tastes pretty nice, I gotta say. It's pretty good. Like, it doesn't have that clear, pure taste that I like in the clearer matzo ball soups, but it tastes good. Like, it's got some big chicken flavor. Maybe it just helps that it's so hot, but I feel like this is like a nutritious soup. I feel like this would perk you right up on a cold day, or if you're sick or something. The broth is quite nice, and it's not too salty, so I'm digging this. Sorry, smiley face. Gonna break you apart. Yeah, now you're a frowny face. But let's try the matzoh. Oh, that matzo ball's great. Oh, it's excellent. Ooh, it tastes completely homemade. Wow, it's great. Well seasoned and everything, great texture. Like, you can just tell that they're making these matzo balls by hand. Like, they've got the perfect spongy consistency, perfect amount of seasoning, not bland, not over salted. The matzo's got good flavor and texture, but when you soak it up in the broth, it is like a sponge. It kind of absorbs it rather than go soggy. Like, it tastes good enough on its own, but with the broth, it really soaks up that chicken flavor, and wow. Whoever made this matzo ball soup, you're a real mensch. Wow. In fact, with this place being not very busy, well, actually, it's a Tuesday and it's getting close to 11:30 now, and it's still really not that crowded, guys. Maybe I'm just lucky, but still. In the mornings, though, this place is always empty, so maybe I'll even come here and just get one of these for breakfast from time to time. Wow. Shoot, do I have my ticket? Yes. So paranoid about losing my ticket. PTSD from that scare where I thought I lost it. But anyways, guys, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. It's been like 2 years since I reviewed Katz's Deli, and yeah, that was one of my first big videos. It really helped launch this channel, I think. And not only does this place have sentimental value for me, for that reason, but even before then, I've been coming here a decent amount. I still have a memory where I had a day off of work. It was a day off work in like the middle of the week, and you know, I figured people always talk about Katz's Deli and people say it's good, but the sandwiches are quite pricey. At the time, if I remember correctly, they were $18. And at the time, I remember thinking, wow, $18 for a sandwich, that's so crazy. Now it's like 18 plus 10.50. But I remember that day I had a day off work. I wasn't super satisfied with my job and my career at the time. So, you know, I was really happy to have a day off and, you know, just like a mental health day. So I came here to Katz's Deli, got a pastrami sandwich. Wow, that's a day that I will never forget. Like, it was just one of the greatest things I had eaten, and it really lifted my whole spirits. I was in a time in my life where I had a lot of frustration. I felt like I didn't have much direction in my life, and the food just really lifted me up physically and, you know, like emotionally, maybe even spiritually. Good food just kind of has like powers like that, just that ability. What always amazes me about Katz's Deli, though, is that it's just so popular. Like, it's such a popular restaurant. It's definitely the most touristy restaurant in all of New York, and New York is filled with touristy restaurants, and it's always amazing when, you know, something really lives up to the hype. Like, it's not just a tourist trap, when it lives up to the hype and maybe and more, in my opinion. So this is a special place. Even though a lot of tourists do come here, locals come here too, because the locals who are in the know, they know that this is the place to go for Jewish deli food. So yeah, I mean, I've been coming to Katz's Deli for years before this channel. I've been coming to Katz's Deli since the channel, and for years in the future, yeah, I'm gonna keep coming here, and I'm gonna be coming here for as long as I can afford it, as long as they make those sandwiches somewhat within a reasonable price. That's actually a good philosophical question. Like, what would be too expensive where I don't want to eat here anymore? That's a dark future that I don't want to ponder, so. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna wrap up my soup while it's still piping hot. So what do you think of Katz's Deli? Do you think Katz's Deli lives up to the hype? Do you think it's a tourist trap? What's your favorite thing to get there? Let me know in the comments, because great minds eat alike. And as always, if you like my content, like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. And even though I've been here so many times, I'm glad I have discovered yet another great item here at Katz's. So until next time, I'll see you later.